This is the Infinite Moment Podcast, where we discuss topics that focus on stress relief solutions. Welcome to episode 9 of the Infinite Moment Podcast. In this podcast, I attempt to address the causes of and solutions to our everyday stress. I rely on articles and studies to gain an understanding on how stress affects every one of us and what our best options are for reducing it. Together we learn and are encouraged to implement the solutions that are revealed as we continue to broaden our understanding of stress. This podcast is powered by DissolveStress.com, so be sure to check that out for all your stress relief needs. And take the stress test to see which products may be best for you. Now back to the program. So today's topic is creative outlets for stress relief. So we're going to be taking a look at different examples, different creative outlets that can be used to help you reduce your stress level. With that being said, I'll also discuss some of my favorite creative outlets for relieving stress. And I'll also hopefully learn of some new ones that maybe I will implement into my life in the future. Hopefully you'll find at least one or two that you may want to try out, and you may find that it does help relieve stress in your life. But most of these things that we're going to speak of are going to be things that pretty much anyone can do. There may be different skill levels involved when it comes to how you're able to perform, or ultimately how your experience with that activity will turn out. But I definitely encourage that you find one or two that you like and give it a try. Hopefully it's something that's beneficial for you. I know we have 3 articles on deck today that we're going to take a look at. Great articles, great information. So without further ado, let's get started with our first article of the day. This first article that we're going to take a look at is titled "The Importance of Hobbies for Stress Relief." It is by Elizabeth Scott, which is a PhD, and it's from September 14th of 2020. And if you can remember, pretty sure we all do, that's obviously during COVID, so stress levels were very high during then. So, it begins. Hobbies are often thought of as activities for people who lead quiet, relaxed lives, but people with full, busy, even stressful lives may need hobbies more than the average person. Hobbies bring many benefits that usually make them more than worth the time they require. Here are some of the advantages of having hobbies. One study found that those who engage in physical leisure activities for at least 20 minutes once a week are less susceptible to fatigue. Other research found that enjoyable activities performed during leisure time were associated with lower blood pressure, total cortisol, waist circumference, and body mass index, and perceptions of better physical function. Such activities were also correlated with higher levels of positive psychosocial states and lower levels of depression and negative affect. Ultimately, the benefit of hobbies, both psychologically and physically, are worth exploring. Find something you enjoy engaging in, and you create time for yourself and your health. Hobbies provide a slice of work-free and responsibility-free time in your schedule. This can be especially welcome for people who feel overwhelmed by all that they have to do and need to recharge their batteries by doing something they enjoy. Okay, so once again, obviously during the time when this article was written, a lot of people was dealing with the effects of the pandemic, so it was highly stressful during that time. But still to this day, many of our day-to-day lives is very stressful and very busy, so we need activities and things to help us unwind, and that's why it's important to take a look at what kind of activities can be of benefit for us. It continues. For those who feel overwhelmed by responsibility, it may be difficult to find the time or give themselves permission to take a break from a busy schedule and just sit and relax. Either way, hobbies provide a nice break during a busy week. For those who aren't overly stressed and may actually be understimulated, hobbies provide a nice source of eustress. the healthy kind of stress that we all need to remain feeling excited about life. If the rest of your life is somewhat dull or uninspiring, hobbies can provide meaning and fun and can break up a boring schedule without feeling like work. In other words, hobbies can provide just the right amount of challenge. Many hobbies lend themselves to group activities. Golfing rotations, knitting circles, and creative writing groups are good examples. Hobbies that connect you with others can bring the added benefit of social support, which can bring stress relief and meaning to life in a fun way. The friends you have fun with can become some of your best friends. So hobbies that bring you closer to others are well worth your time. And that's a good point. Many activities can be done solo, but there is an added benefit from social activities. Positive psychology, a relatively new branch of psychology that studies what makes life worthwhile, has discovered that pleasures, activities that bring fun to life, can be wonderful for relaxation and enjoyment of the moment. Pleasures can bring a lift to your mood. Since hobbies generally incorporate pleasures into your life, maintaining hobbies can be good for your overall sense of joy. Also, from positive psychology, gratifications are important activities that bring meaning and fun to life. Gratifications present the kind of challenge that requires us to use some of our best personal skills and engages us in a sense of flow, which can put us in a near meditative state where we lose track of time and feel removed from the stresses of life and fully engage in what we are doing. Gratifications can lead to a reduction in stress and a sense of well-being, and hobbies are usually experienced as gratifications. If you want more happiness and fewer stress experiences in your life, hobbies provide a direct route to gratifications that can lead to this. Hobbies bring a sense of fun and freedom to life that help to minimize the impact of chronic stress. Those who feel overwhelmed at a job, for example, which most of us should be able to relate to, or most of us probably can relate to, can benefit from hobbies because they provide an outlet for stress and something to look forward to after a hard day or week at a stressful job. Some research shows that those who are in stressful jobs that normally contribute to burnout, which is low control, high demand jobs, for example, feel less of a need to recover from their day at bedtime if they have more physical or social leisure activities that aren't work related, or in other words, more hobbies. In this study, those who had a need to recover at bedtime were more likely to suffer from negative health and wellness outcomes like psychosomatic complaints and fatigue. To conclude, in other words, hobbies can help buffer the effects of a stressful job and mitigate factors that contribute to burnout. Final word. You might experiment with a variety of different hobbies to discover what you love and what works for you. Take a class, learn a new skill, or make it a goal to try a new activity each week. From making crafts to collecting coins, the more you explore, the more likely you are to find a hobby that you love. Alright, so that article was a good introduction for us to begin to understand how a creative outlet, a hobby, and activity can help reduce stress in our lives. We went over some of the important reasons. Mainly, we live in a high stress society. Much of that stress coming from our day-to-day lives, such as jobs, relationships, other responsibilities, and gave us some quick tips on how to approach finding activities and skills that can help reduce that stress, the added benefit of participating in hobbies that have a social element to them, and how that compounds upon the reduction of stress. So I imagine that most of us can relate to high stress situations, whether or not most of the time, at least some of the time. Again, depending on your job, your responsibilities, family and other relationships, health. These are some of the more common stressors that most of us do face in life. So it is important to find hobbies in life so that you have ways to balance off that stress that you're going to inevitably face from your day-to-day responsibilities. You probably can't completely eliminate that stress, but you can have a creative outlet, a hobby that allows you to work that energy and stress out of your body in a healthy way. So that's our goal. We're trying to understand how we can harness the power of creative outlets for our own benefit when it comes to stress relief. All right, but we're going to take a look at our next article here and dive deeper into how this works. Okay, so the next article is titled How Art Therapy Can Relieve Stress. It is from June 27, 2021, and it's on the Sage Neuroscience Center page. Excessive stress is nothing new to many people across the country, both young and old. Whether it's a busy home or work life, or you're dealing with mental or physical health issues that are putting you on edge, there are alternative forms of treatment that may help relieve your stress, such as art therapy. Art therapy has been used as a positive stress reliever for years. Nowadays, its benefits are becoming more and more well known, making art a common choice as an alternative way to help deal with stress and other mental health conditions. Art plays a different role in every person's life in an intricate way, allowing many people to process emotions and reduce stress as they are creating art. Therefore, art therapy is one of the best natural ways to help combat stress in your everyday life. And it's fun. Art therapy is a form of mental health treatment using media and the patient's creativity to therapeutically process and understand emotions while creating art. This form of therapy is used to help deal with many issues, from rehabilitation to processing past trauma, and usually includes a licensed therapist. But there are art therapy exercises that you can practice on your own. The main goal of art therapy is to help the person struggling to finally be able to relax enough to get in touch with their emotions. By creating art and doing something as simple as coloring, stress levels are seen to drop exponentially in patients. Helping the patient finally relax allows them to focus their mind on other things such as processing emotions, focusing on themselves, and working on emotional release. Don't worry, art therapy does not require anyone to be a good artist. Instead, the client can just put their thoughts on paper by creating whatever comes to mind, many times without speaking. This form of therapy helps many people who struggle to put their feelings and problems into words. Art therapy is widespread among children too, as many of them prefer to draw as a form of communication and understanding. One of the most significant aspects of art therapy is the ability to help the client relax. You do not have to be an artist to do this, so many people feel comforted that there is no pressure on their creative flow. Art therapy allows the client to get their mind off whatever may be bothering them, even if it's just for a brief period. Creating art helps many people slow down, allowing them to relax, de-stress, and tap into their creativity. Alright, so let's go over this list they have of the mental health benefits of art therapy. It says the practice of art therapy comes with a multitude of benefits. 1. It fosters self-awareness. Mindfulness and self-awareness play a significant role in art therapy. Practicing mindfulness in the simplest terms means turning into your emotions, thoughts, and body. This is what allows a client to go through the therapy process while creating art. 2. It helps you process and understand emotions. Another critical part of therapy in relieving stress is to be able to process and understand the emotions that may be causing you problems in the first place. Identifying the root of a problem is the only way to accurately begin to treat it. Art therapy helps patients get in touch with their feelings so they can find the root of their trouble and begin the journey of understanding and processing it. Number 3. Emotional release is another great benefit of art therapy. One of the biggest aspects of therapy in relieving stress is to process your feelings on past and present situations and move forward from them. Letting go of past trauma, times you've been hurt, and stagnant emotions can change your life immensely. Emotional release helps clients lift massive weights off their shoulders to hopefully move forward with their lives. Number 4, it builds self-confidence. Another helpful feature of art therapy is its ability to build self-confidence. With factors such as free creative reign, no pressure from other artists, and no pressure to be good at what they are creating, many people have found that the process of creating something by themselves builds their confidence. Despite whether you make art often, there's a massive sense of pride and accomplishment that will come along with creating a piece of art that makes you feel proud. This helps people continue to build self-esteem and gives them a reason to be pleased with themselves. You may wonder, can drawing reduce stress? Drawing and painting are some of the most common exercises in art therapy. They are often used to help answer questions and relieve stress too. Studies that were done on art and active creativity's impact on the brain show that dopamine levels often increased in patients who had newly creative outlets. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that often is low in patients with anxiety, depression, and excessive stress. Because art therapy has been seen to help increase these dopamine levels and help a patient feel happier, it is also an excellent choice for people with mental illness such as chronic depression and anxiety. Okay, art therapy seems cool, right? But you may be asking how exactly you can relieve stress with art therapy. Because it is a process of using any media to create any art. You may do a wide variety of things in an art therapy session, or even for art therapy by yourself. The first is ceramics and clay work. Ceramics and clay work are intimate forms of art that help people practice mindfulness and delicate design while allowing their minds to focus on something other than stressors. Sculpting is another great tool used by many art therapists, especially to observe how people may work with their sculptures to understand them a bit better. Doodling and even scribbling are good methods of exercising emotions or anxiety in a situation. Many people who struggle with nervousness may find themselves doing this already in other public settings. Number 4 are collages. Collages are a fun method of using mixed media to create art. The client can choose a theme or dedicate their time to making a dream board. Fabrics. Fabric work is another fun, delicate way to practice art therapy. Tie-dyeing and sewing are great ways to create, and the best part is that you can wear your work. 6. Coloring books. Coloring books are simple stress relievers that can be used by people of any age, helping them focus on simple details and practice mindfulness. Textiles. Textile work, while similar to fabric work, involves a wide variety of materials that can be interwoven together in any way, shape, or form the artist pleases. From crochet to knitting, textiles are another great art therapy exercise. Art journals are great ways to practice art therapy both in and out of sessions. In addition, keeping sketchbooks with certain themes or specific notebooks for certain aspects of life might help you stay organized and inspired. Last but not least is photography. Photography is another enjoyable method of art therapy. Photography enables the artist to take pictures of anything, whether they love or hate them. Studies have shown that most people who try art as a form of therapy or stress relief have experienced significant reductions in their cortisol levels when doing so. Cortisol is a naturally occurring hormone that often appears in high levels in people who are stressed out. The higher the cortisol levels, the more stressed out a person may be. According to a study done for the journal Art Therapy, when cortisol levels were taken both before and after participants engaged in 45 minutes of creating art, researchers found that 75% of people involved had lower cortisol levels after. Many people in art therapy carry one or even multiple sketchbooks around with them. Some people use different sketchbooks for different things. For example, you can use one sketchbook to draw how you feel and maybe another for when you feel inspired. Keeping the sketchbooks on you also helps you to give yourself a little break when you need one. While many adults may look at coloring as a childish thing, there are actually many mental health benefits that come with coloring. Using a coloring book can help your brain finally slow down. Coloring has been seen to play a role with your amygdala, also known as the brain's fear center. Coloring helps people practice mindfulness and is especially helpful for those who feel constantly stressed or nervous all of the time. Painting, drawing, and doodling are great ways to practice mindfulness and get more in tune with yourself and your emotions. Whether you know the direction you want to take or begin by aimlessly doodling, the creative process will help you deal with stressors in your life by bringing your attention to something new. Scrapbooking can be a helpful form of art therapy in a variety of ways. Many people who make this form of art will relate their book to a specific theme. This theme could be anything from a specific time in your life to a collection of all the things that make you happy. Scrapbooking can include a mix of media as well as cutting and pasting, allowing those who may not feel too artistic to be creative too. Ultimately, art therapy can release stress for people of all ages. Whether you're struggling with depression, anxiety, or trauma, art therapy can help you learn how to express yourself in new ways and reduce stress in the process. Alright, so in that article from the Sage Neuroscience Center, they were talking about art therapy in the sense of using it to help reduce stress and deal with trauma and your emotions. It's a kind of an umbrella term for several different creative outlets that can be used to deal with trauma and emotions, stress, and it's often used for people not only with stress but also, deep traumas and even depression. So many people, no matter what age, can benefit from art therapy, which includes coloring and painting, crocheting, knitting, photography, many different creative outlets. I would add music, you know. So what it seems that the goal of art therapy is to help us engage in an activity that brings joy, which allows us to be in a present moment and have some clarity when it comes to our thoughts and our emotions, maybe work through some of the trauma, especially if we can use the art that we're creating as an outlet for that trauma. So you can get it out in a safe way that's not destructive. Because here's what happens many times, that trauma that's inside of us, it's going to have to come out one way or another. It's up to us to decide if we're going to use positive creative outlets to hopefully reduce that trauma, reduce that stress, work through those emotions, or as some people choose, destructive ways to work out those traumas, which in the end is actually going to cause more trauma. But in the moment, it feels like it's a relief. So those things can include drugs, heavy drinking. Some people even do certain intense adrenaline inducing activities to deal with trauma and stress. But these are some of the more unhealthy ways to deal with that. So we're trying to look at creative outlets that are for our benefit. And in this article, it listed a lot that really helps not only release those emotions and help us work through the trauma, but ultimately help us build self-confidence in the long run. You may even find an activity that you never realized that you would enjoy or that you would be good at. It's not necessarily important that you are quote unquote good at the activity, more so than it's something you enjoy and that helps you to relax and be in that present moment. Our imaginations are meant to be exercised throughout our lives. It helps benefit us. Using that imagination along with our creativity. To me, creativity means expressing our imagination through different outlets. And, drawing, coloring, ceramics, fabrics, these are all different examples. For me personally, I enjoy playing guitar, so improvising on guitar, that's one of the hobbies I use for relieving stress. Another creative outlet that I use from time to time is to sketch. For example, right now I'm interested in buying a home, so I'm sketching floor plans and working out how I would want my house to ultimately look and flow. Which brings up a good point. Even feng shui will be considered a creative outlet because you're using your own imagination and your flow, your energy to determine how you want to organize your home. Again, we each have our own ways of being creative, expressing our imagination, and it's all about finding what's right for you, what you enjoy, what helps you feel like you're in that present moment. Meditation, I highly enjoy meditation, and it's a creative outlet as well. Even though you may not be making anything tangible, the creative expression that you have in your own mind is relevant and it still has a benefit to lowering your stress levels. So, yeah, great article there. We're going to take a look at one more to continue learning on how creativity benefits us when it comes to stress relief. Okay, here's an article from the website thedoctorweightsin.com. It's titled 19 Fun Activities That Help Relieve Stress, and it is by Daniela McVickers. Stress can take over your life. No matter where it comes from, it's always necessary to eliminate it from your life as soon as it starts to become a problem. Sometimes stress comes and goes. It'll appear and perhaps push you to meet your deadline or encourage you to work harder. You might be one of those "I work better under stress" type of people. In fact, stress is an instinct, giving us the fight or flight response. However, chronic stress can be detrimental to your life, giving you sleeping problems, headaches, a weakened immune system, and constant tense muscles. Here are some activities you can try out for yourself. Hopefully, they'll take some of the stress away and help you to regain balance in your life. First, exercise the stress away. Sometimes all you need to get the pressure out of your life is to get the blood pumping. Think of it as sweating the stress away. Exercise has multiple benefits, helping with your mental state, putting everything into perspective, and making you feel a lot more grounded. Going for a jog, lifting some weights, or following a cardio YouTube video is all you need to do. We promise you'll feel better afterward. Blast out some yoga. Yoga is an art, one which forces you to focus on things that matter: your breathing, your body, your posture. If you get into the habit of practicing yoga whenever you feel stressed, your body will thank you for it. Of course, you can take the yoga classes, but YouTube videos also work perfectly. As long as you're in a serene area, you'll start to feel super relaxed. You can even try your hand at meditating. Dip into your paintbrushes. One thing that relaxes many people is painting. Whether it's the creation of art, the outlet, or the peaceful manner, you'll almost certainly feel less stressed after painting something. You don't have to be the next Da Vinci. As long as you have a few paintbrushes, colors, and canvas, you'll make a masterpiece. Try to envision yourself painting your stress out. With every brushstroke that you make, imagine it's the weight off your shoulders, manifesting itself into your art. If you're not really into metaphors, try to relax and let the brushstrokes do the talking. Try journaling to help articulate feelings. Again, you don't have to be a writer or even close. Journaling is for your eyes only, unless you want others to take a peek. The goal with journaling is to put every single thought in your head on the paper. If you had a particularly stressful day, translate your thoughts into words, write them down, and take it out of your body that way. Journaling is a great habit to get into, disabling the stress to manifest in your body. You can even try writing down your annoyances and destroying the piece of paper afterward. Another powerful metaphor. Number 5. We can't think of anything quite as relaxing as gardening. Don't worry, gardening can be done indoors or outdoors. Seeing your plant babies grow from seeds, flourish, and beautify your space is humbling, peaceful, and enjoyable. Research different plants, grow your own herbs, or make unique flower pots for your new additions to live in. You'll be pleasantly surprised by how soothing a regular schedule of watering, cutting, and maintaining of a garden can be. Doesn't matter if it's in your backyard or on your windowsill. Listen to your favorite music. Listening to your favorite music can help relax you. Take time out of your day to blast out your favorite tunes, sing along, and rock out to the best hits. If your favorite music isn't the most peaceful of sounds, why not try listening to classical music or well noises? It'll put your mind and body at complete ease and help you to clear the cloudiness of your brain, making way for stress-free thoughts. A creative outlet can be the best thing for a stressed-out brain, and nothing quite relaxes you like a brilliant knitting session. Try not to focus on making it perfect. That'll stress you out in itself. But focus on the sounds of your needles clicking together in your woolly creation. You don't have to make it perfect. That's not the point in knitting. You have to enjoy the process, and in turn, you'll get better and better. Before you know it, you'll be knitting scarves for all your friends. We like to call them stress scarves. They're a real hit. Alright, so this article obviously tries to incorporate some humor. Number 8, go on a great hike. Imagine a scenario. You're super stressed. You place your phone in your drawer, put your hiking boots on, and take a couple of hours out of your day to relax with nature. When you return your phone, everything is excellent and nothing burned down without you there. However, the stress you initially felt has disappeared. That's what hiking does. It puts everything into perspective while allowing you to exercise and breathe in the fresh air. Nothing quite humbles you like roaming around nature. What were you stressing about again? Start collecting things. Starting a collection of items is just a fun little hobby. It will give you an interest in something other than the stress you're accumulating, and you'll feel a great sense of pride. Here are a few suggestions of things to start easily collecting: stamps, coins, rocks, keys, snow globes, and spoons. Beginning a collection will also give you a fantastic excuse to distract yourself, whether it's traveling, web browsing, or thrift shopping. You'll have the best time and let your weary brain focus on something else. 10. Start a movie marathon. There's so many movies out there just waiting for them to be enjoyed or not enjoyed. What are you waiting for? You might think you don't have time to watch a movie, but that's not true. Everybody has time to take a few hours to watch something new or old. Look out for the cinematography, the acting skills, the lighting, the interior. It might just inspire you in your life too. And just like with music, we don't recommend watching a horror or disaster film. These types of movies might ultimately add more stress to your life. Try a romance or comedy. Stress can sometimes manifest itself as a reaction to being stuck. You might feel stuck in work, in your studies, in life. You might be losing interest in everything around you, causing you to stress out. Don't worry, we understand and we have a solution. Learn something new. Try to learn how to play a new instrument. Learn a new language. Teach yourself how to play chess. These hobbies will stimulate your brain, adding much needed excitement. You can take classes, watch tutorials, or use apps on your phone. Whichever one floats your boat, go for it. Number 12. Visit museums and art galleries. Walking around a quiet museum or art gallery can be an incredible stress buster. You also learn new things, be inspired, and possibly meet new people. So that'll bring in that social aspect that we were talking about earlier. Plus, there's nothing quite as humbling as walking amongst history. You might think you're under a lot of stress, but the caveman skulls might tell you otherwise. Our favorite books to read when we're stressed are non-fictional motivational books, even ones unshamedly related to relieving stress, such as Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers by Robert Sapolsky. Obviously, non-fiction books are equally as great and act as escapism to stress in your life. Schedule some time in your day to read a book. You won't regret it. Try out calligraphy. Have you ever watched the calligraphy videos on social media? You can quite literally watch them for hours because they're just so satisfying. Well, imagine you're the one behind the pen now. Calligraphy is relaxing, satisfying, and fun. Studies have even shown that it reduces the symptoms of stress. Maybe you could become the creator of the next calligraphy video. Take a look at the stars. We know it's cliche, but it does work. Stargazing has the fantastic ability to ground you thoroughly. So you're stressed from work? You got personal stresses? Are you feeling too much pressure? Take a look at the stars. You'll get this humbling feeling, taking you right back to the beginning of your existence and allowing you to become free from the mundane stresses of your day. It's also cool to know that we've all got a little bit of stardust in us. Number 16. There's no happy medium when it comes to stress. Either we feel too shabby to eat anything, or we eat absolutely everything in our peripheral vision. There's no better time to try your cooking skills out. Making yourself an incredible meal has so many benefits. Not only will it fill your body with nutrients, making you feel all around less stressed, you'll also distract yourself for a little while. Sometimes all you need is a healthy distraction to make you realize how minor your stressors are. Try to solve some puzzles. Exercise your brain and allow it to focus on something else. Direct your attention to something fun. Puzzles are real life savers when it comes to stress. You can try your hand at more difficult puzzles. These might seem stressful, but they're an all-around different kind of stress. A healthy, fun, challenging type of pressure. Yeah, that would be known as eustress. Listening to how your brain and body reacts, you'll feel stimulated but not sad. challenged but not hopeless. These feelings are all super wholesome. Number 18, clean up your space. Sometimes the stress we've manifested in our brains roots from the clutter we've manifested in our area. If you have lots of clutter and dirt, not only can it add to the stress you might be feeling, but it can also be the primary cause of it. Not to mention, thoroughly cleaning your home or workplace can be a wonderful stress buster. If you've not heard of Marie Kondo's cleaning step yet, you need to check them out. She helps people clean out their homes in the most stress-free, healthful way possible. Try redecorating your space. So you've cleaned up your entire space, but it still seems to exasperate you. That could mean that you're due for a great interior design switch up. It doesn't even have to be anything crazy. Just so swap around the furniture. A pop of color here and there, or a new rug can make a huge difference. You'll be treated with the fresh start that you truly deserve, also helping you to evaluate what you want and don't want in your personal space, a super important step in eliminating stress from your life. Of the 19 tips that were given, we have high confidence that you'll be able to adopt at least one of these. Whether it's reading before going to sleep or taking hikes instead of screaming, you'll find an excellent way to cope. Remember, stress can come and go at any time. However, chronic stress usually has a beginning somewhere. Tackling the root of the problem is also highly advised in these situations. Okay, so that was 19 different examples of different creative outlets, some being more exercise related, while others are a little bit more artistic, but all in one way or another can be viewed as a creative outlet. Yoga not only incorporates exercise, but also mindfulness, which allows for imagination. Painting, as we discussed earlier, gets your thoughts out of your head and onto a canvas. Hiking, being in nature in general, very good creative outlet where you're able to observe and take in the energies of nature and allow that to filter out that stress that you're experiencing. Some of these are a bit more niche, such as stamp collecting or calligraphy, but those are the type of activities, you may want to just give it a try and see if it's something you enjoy. Dopamine is released when we try new stress relief activities. Some of these creative outlets at sometimes may be more beneficial for you than others, so never fully have to rule it out, but you can see which ones that you enjoy the best. Within each of these activities, you can change them and make them work in a way that's best for you, such as if you're into puzzling, you may only want to do a 500 piece puzzle, not a 5,000 piece. So, keep those things in mind. Obviously, cooking not only has the benefit of you can create a meal, but you can then eat the meal. So, again, to keep in mind, you can mix in a social aspect with these creative outlets as well to benefit even more from what they have to offer. But these were just some. There's tons of different outlets, exercises you can do to reduce the stress that you feel in your life. One of the stress relief activities, the creative outlets that I'm engaging in more is traveling, especially internationally. So I went to Costa Rica earlier this year, and I'll be going to Puerto Rico over this next weekend. So to me, that's a creative outlet. Seeing new places, new things, potentially trying to speak the language of the people in those regions, understanding what their day-to-day life is like. That's a creative outlet. All right, so with that being said, that wraps up this episode of the Infinite Moment Podcast. I'll catch you guys next time, and take it easy.